All right, we're back at the intake manifold. Still looking all right. Not the prettiest, not the worst, but well, maybe the worst one. But anywho, we got a few things we need to finish off before we can really say this thing is done. One of them being a vacuum port for our brake booster and for our ECU. So we do need to drill and tap into somewhere. I thought about just drilling into one of these ports or just welding on a bung and drilling in there. Probably should have done it before I finalized everything, and now it's a bit harder to clean all the shavings out, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Another thing is we need to figure out a fuel rail. I've got injectors coming. They're out of a Ford EcoBoost because they're a tiny injector. I'll show you. Oh, fuck, they're hard to get out, especially when they're dried and no lube. This is a factory Coyote V8 injector, very standard height, normal connector. The EcoBoost ones are probably there to there for height. They're super small, but they still have the full standard in-depth pintle cap with an O-ring boss, and they still have the same top. I'm not 100% sure on diameter. I'm hoping it's the same. But yeah, the injector is just under 2 inches in height. So that'll go into there, about a 1/4 inch in. So it'll be 1 3/4 high, plus our 1/4 inch for our, or a little bit higher for the fuel rail. So we can hopefully reuse the OEM rail with some modifications, obviously, because it used to go around the back and there's no room for it to go around the front. So we'll have to either go down and up, but we'll figure that out. And that's waiting for parts, which is great. Another thing is we need to figure out our throttle linkages, but we're going to save that to a really stressful moment where I need a break to go to something else, because that's going to be fun. So we're going to go on to our next job, which is going to be the cooling system. Now down here, I just have a hose end. It's hard to see. And that's just going to go to the bottom radiator port, which is somewhere either side. Very easy to do. But our upper one's the more annoying one, because we need to go from here to there and have a thermostat. One of our issues that we're running into is I need it to be able to, when it opens, to close that off and then let it go around. Although it doesn't really close it off, it just pushes on it. I mean, cooling systems and sealing, they're always bleeding by a little bit. Nothing's a perfect seal other than to the outside. So yeah, I got an idea to just kind of make this come out and go to like a remote coolant reservoir somewhere around here. And then just weld a plate onto here. Maintain these 2 bolt holes because I still need the tension on the gasket. And then lop this off here and have a line and another line probably coming out that way to our heater core. And then the 2 vent ones will go to each other, and then they'll go to our pressurized reservoir so that it can bleed the air out as it goes around. So we're not too worried about air getting trapped in a thermostat that's lower down than the rest and not having a great way to burp it. So yeah, that's our plan. Come along with me as we figure out a way to do it. So yeah, let's see how far we get today. You can kind of get an idea of what we're going to do here. It's janky. It's not the cleanest, but let's just fucking keep the ball rolling on the old intake manifold and get her done. So yeah, that guy's going to go on there. The bend's going to be way closer. I'll probably grab a new piece because this piece kind of got fucked up when I tried to give it another bend, but it's too close on the radius. And I believe I have some more of this. I'm hoping I've got some more of this. Or we'll just cut her there, and that's where it gets pushed into. Nevertheless, it's not the end of the world. We can always get more of this. I mean, that's relatively cheap. And then we're not going to use it like that, but we're going to have a piece coming off like that. We're probably going to use some 1.5-inch pipe I have, this guy here, just because there's no point using that random ass cast aluminum like what happened here, and it was just 2 pieces of aluminum with a lot of impurities. I mean, it didn't leak. I really thought it was going to leak. Where is it? Yeah, right there. But surprisingly, the pitting and oxidization didn't go through I mean, it really does look like it when you look on the inside, but hey, it didn't leak. Maybe it's because I had the radiator hose up all the way to here and the clamp there. But we're going to avoid that little bit of difficulty, and we'll just put this on the lathe, and we'll just go in a little bit so the hose has a little, or the hose clamp has something to clamp down on and stop it pulling off. And then that'll be our 2 outlet ports, one obviously being the intake back to the water pump, and the other one coming out. And then we're going to use our pieces we made, this guy here, and we'll weld another pipe to it. We'll probably have to go to 2-inch, just so... keep a clean chop here. So yeah, that's going to go into there. That's going to go into there. And then again, we'll go down with 1.5 inches because it's close enough in there. We can tap the sides, weld her up, and then we will have our inner hose, or we'll have our piece here that closes off, and that'll get welded to another nub of a pipe that'll come straight out of the bottom, and then we'll probably have a 90 coming off here, if you can imagine, and that'll be our inlet. Or we might do the opposite. We might have our 90 coming out on our thin tube, and then yeah, we'll have this piece, which should be our outlet to the radiator, and we might even just put a 90 here so it does a full 180. So where we put this, so it can go right here, and then we can have our 180, and it can just go over to there, and we'll have a relatively short run for radiator hose. Now it's going to be a whole lot of dicking around and overly hot kind of pieces of coolant-y hose and pipes and stuff in the front, but hey, go look at a new Super Hour, and it's the same fucking thing. It's coolant hoses everywhere. Toyota and their BMW collab car definitely has a shit ton of lines everywhere, but hey, it's real fast, so let's hope we can keep the same idea that it'll have a lot of shit, but at least it'll be fast. So yeah, it's getting pretty late tonight, but at least we got a game plan of how we're going to get this going, and I like how it's going to work out. So yeah, we may even go possibly another direction and have it over here, and then we can weld a 90 to that and have a short run. The only thing is just with belts, I want to be able to keep a decently cleanish area here, just so if I need to swap belts out, I can do it without draining the coolant. That's the biggest thing in this design, is just being able to service things without draining the coolant, because I hate having to lose fluids or clean a pan so I can reuse the coolant. I mean, yeah, sometimes laziness wins, and I'd rather just buy new coolant than make a pan clean enough to keep the coolant. But yeah, that's it for today, and I will carry on tomorrow. So yeah, smell you later.